Meet Codename Goose, your on-machine open-source AI agent, built to automate your tasks. Codename Goose is an intelligent and autonomous agent capable of handling complex tasks thanks to its core features. Connect with apps and tools you already use with extensions. Built on the Model Context Protocol, you can connect to extensions like GitHub, integrate JetBrains IDEs, access Google Drive, or build your own custom integrations for Goose. For a curated list of extensions, visit our docs. With a wide range of compatible large language model providers, you can choose and integrate your preferred model. You can also run Goose as a desktop app or through the command line interface using the same configurations across both. You can think of Goose as an assistant, ready to take your instructions and do the work for you. Able to handle a wide range of tasks across various engineering domains. Here are examples of tasks Goose has helped people with already. Goose has helped dive into a new project in an unfamiliar coding language, conduct code migrations such as Ember to React or Ruby to Kotlin, increase code coverage, and even generate unit tests for a feature, and much more. To get started using Goose right away, check out our quick start and be the first to know about upcoming features by joining our community.
Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I see Ravi in the chat. Hi from San Diego. Super excited to chat with y'all today. If it's your first time tuning in, you're watching Goosing Around is the name of this live stream. And basically, this is a live stream where we talk about Codename Goose, which is an open source AI agent that's local to your machine. We bring on guests to kind of talk about the different integrations that can happen with Goose. And today, we're going to talk to Rachel. Let's see. All right, we have Rachel on. And as I was about to say, Rachel, I really admire Rachel. They are an amazing person. I look at you as a web expert. Of course, you've done a lot of work in like Mozilla, W3C, you led the React docs, and now you're talking about how like the browser may be coming to an end and agents are taking over. I just want to know from you really quickly. I normally ask an icebreaker, and I always think of it randomly and like while the beginning credits are happening. So my random question is, today's April Fool's Day. Do you like pranks, or are you like, April Fool's Day is this sick joke, it's so mean, I don't like it? So I don't know, there's always two different types of people.
So true story. I got diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum not too long ago. And there's certain kinds of humor I don't like because I take people very seriously.
Yeah.
And April Fool's Day is like a minefield for me. It's lots of, I literally got an email from Popflex, my favorite woman-owned fitness clothing brand, right? Yeah. And it was like an ad for yoga pants with a big bowl, like butt cleavage thing going on called Pika Booty. And I was like, this is a terrible idea. What is society coming to? And then I was like, Rachel Lee, look at the date. And I was just like, it's too likely I would take it seriously. So it's a very dangerous day. It's like fireworks or the 4th of July for a dog for me. I'm just, I'm fritzing out all over the house. Oh my God. And it's none of it is actually happening. It doesn't matter. What about yourself?
I think
hate it?
I'm not a big fan. I also got tricked. I was 11 Labs. They posted an amazing tweet, and I didn't realize it was like for like 10 seconds. They were like, "We're launching text to bark," and I was like, "What? Why would you need text to bark when you're like they do like I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're like AI speech tool." And I was like really watching the video, like taking it literally. And then I was like, wait, it's April Fool's Day. Never mind. So it's not my favorite. I want to say hi to the audience as well. Y'all tell us too, like you like April Fool's Day or not. Hey from London. Hi from Minneapolis. Oh, look at y'all all over the world. Hey,
Aw,
Nate.
Nate.
Thank you so much. And then someone said, hey, for Germany. And then Heather said she walked in on the butt cleavage part. So welcome. All right.
Peek a booty.
So
I'm gonna try to click the stream to your audience button because I think my audience might like to see it. Let's
yeah,
see if it doesn't kick me out.
fingers crossed.
Select the destinations.
I forgot to suggest that to you.
It's like, okay, yeah, I'm just putting it Goose and Roselle time. There we go. Now you're live on my channel as well.
More viewers. Let's go. And Tanya said she didn't like April Fool's Day, but because I get promised free food and don't get it. When do they do that? That's
That
evil.
sounds like a real bait and switch.
Right. That's awful. Okay. Let us know. I mean, I kind of gave an intro of you, but it wasn't as good as you really are. Tell us your name, what you do, and what you're passionate about.
Okay. Howdy, I'm Rachel Nabors, and I'm a developer advocate at AgentQL. That's AgentQL, like the query language.com. Today, I am here to check out what all kinds of fun things you can do with AgentQL and Goose. AgentQL gives basically it gives your agent hands and eyes into the internet. So, you know, if you wanted to create your own controller, you can do that now with AgentQL and Goose. We'll be goosing around today. I live in London. I worked on the React team. I worked on web standards. I really love open source, and I also love like shipping things. So if you like to ship things, if Friday comes along and you haven't shipped anything and you feel bummed about that, I'm with you. I feel for you, my friend. So let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do goosing around.
Yeah, I'm excited for when we get to the demo, which we will soon. And my other question to you, right? So you did mention, and I mentioned this too, like you did a lot of stuff in the web, like React, Docs, Mozilla, all this stuff. And there's also, anytime I talk to like maybe more like senior, very experienced engineers or web developers, they're always really like hesitant about AI. And I'm curious if it was the same for you. Like, did you have initial skepticism towards AI, or was it something that was always exciting for you?
Well, I can answer yes to all of those. Hang on. Gotta get my really big textbook. So, when I left big tech and moved back to London, I got this really big book, which someone at a London meetup told me they could have just skipped their entire, master's in
Read that?
data and machine learning. I just read this fat textbook, which is an artificial intelligence, a modern approach, 4th edition, or as I call it, the Green Beast. And I got to tell you, it's really neat. There's also another book that I was reading before, even then, called Grokking Deep Learning, which you basically build your own perceptron and like 3-layer deep neural network. Anyway, it's just math. And so when everyone was getting on the AI hype train, I was just like, cool story, bro. It's just math. Like, it's really cool. So I was like, it's magic and life-changing. I'm like, it can do things that if you throw enough monkeys who know math at computers, they can do it. And so on the one hand, there are things that I'm really excited about it. Like, for instance, Cursor has made my skills in engineering relevant again. And that makes such a difference for like, I remember when people are like, oh, I don't know if I can go have a kid because what if the world changes and I come back and my skills are out of date? And it's like, no, Cursor, like, it's like putting on a mecha suit. And I love that. I love just being like, ha ha ha. I don't actually need to know Stripe's API to fix this coupon code. I'm going to talk to Cursor about it. And it's made it easier for somebody who understands how to program to not get dragged down by being a niche expert. Oh, I don't understand this API fully. Oh, I don't have any experience with this particular framework. If you can reason about a data structure, you're in. And I love that. I feel like it just empowers. It is the dream. Like we started this journey, like we'll build HTML so that anybody can create like an app on the web. Yeah, like that was the dream of the CSS working group, was to make it so anyone could design anything. Figma's come along. It basically takes pretty pictures and outputs it to CSS and HTML. It does a pretty dang good job of it. I feel like mission accomplished. We should all high five that we just basically opened up this entire communication channel to people who just all they have to do is learn a fairly easy to learn by comparison interface. So I'm actually very bullish on AI. And I think if you talk to people in parts of the world that don't have the privilege of like spending 4 years in college studying to become a computer programmer or something like that, those folks are super excited about the avenues that AI opens up for better teaching. Like there are areas where introducing AI into the classroom levels out the gap between boys and girls learning in the schoolroom. And like that's world changing. So yeah, in the first world, people can sit back and be like, "Ooh, but will it be good enough? What if it introduces security, bias, blah, blah." It will do all those things. Any invention will. But the thing is, it changes the baseline in so many other areas. That's what I'm really excited about. I'd rather focus personally on all the new doors it opens and the good we can do. And I do trust that we will also cross those harder to cross bridges too. But I'm not going to shut the window just because there's a risk there, personally.
I love that. I feel like what I got from it, it's just math, but it democratizes coding for individuals. And I agree. Even the point that you made about like going on parental leave and then you're like nervous. I don't know. I had the same nervousness. I mean, I made my
Yeah.
parental leave short, but then I was like, what was I nervous about? I could just type to Goose or ChatGPT and be like, hey, can you make this? Or, hey, how does this work? And like, I'm never
Or
really
I've heard a lot about this new tan stack thing. Can you tell me what makes it so special?
right, like, what? Yes, and then someone had a comment on your book. They said, "It looks like it's larger than the encyclopedia."
It is. It's a big book, but I feel like if you're going to use AI, I really do. If you're going to have opinions about it, you really need to understand how it's working. You need to try to build even a baby perceptron, read some of
Yeah,
the books, really figure out what's under like how it's working. In the same way, like if you're a programmer, you should kind of understand data structures. You should
yeah.
probably have an idea of how a GPT is actually mix and matching information to form what it is. Otherwise, you could think of AI as a god and it's just a really good trickster. It's really good at fooling you. It's good at winning the invitation game. And that's dangerous, is when people start mistaking technology for magic.
Yes, thank you, yeah, and it's not sentient either. It's just, like, some people are like, "It's thinking, I can't believe it did this." Like you said, understanding what's going on under the hood helps you. Alright, so tell us what AgentQL is, but a little bit of a challenge. Explain it to me like I'm 5.
All right. All right. So, and I'm happy to give you an actual demo for all you curious at home, but I'm going to use my words right now because you said explain like I was 5, not with a fancy playground, right? So, AgentQL turns any web page, any public facing web page, into an API endpoint for its information. So, like if you wanted to, say you're looking at an Amazon page and you wanted the names and prices of everything on that page, you'd write a little query. You would pass it to AgentQL along with the URL, and AgentQL would go out, analyze the entire page, figure out what those things you were looking for were, and then return it to you in structured JSON. So you tell it what you're looking for, give it a URL, and it returns that information to you in the structure you've defined. Basically, it turns every page into like an API.
Perfect. Okay, I love that description. I thought it was very clear. And then my follow-up to that, which this sounds like I'm being cheeky, but I'm just thinking what other people might think. Why Not just browse the web like the good old days.
Oh man, that is a great question. Hang on a minute while I think on that one. Sorry, I'm actually like, how do I get a new window open? No, not like that. My arc, like a new window. And okay, anyway, why not just browse the web? Well, you could. I mean, we do that all the time. Sometimes you want to have more than one thing going. For instance, for what if you really love Monster High dolls? And Monster High, if you haven't heard of it, I'm sorry, you're not geeky enough to be in this room. Please leave. But Monster High created a Wednesday Addams Netflix collaboration doll. It looks like Wednesday Addams all the way down to her little uniform. And they released a special edition fashion pack for her. And the doll and the fashion pack, of course, were sold separately. For Christmas, I got the doll, but I didn't get the fashion pack. The fashion pack is currently valued at like $80 by collectors and is not available to purchase in most websites, but every once in a while, some new stock becomes available. So what do? I don't want to like wake up and check Amazon every day for that. But what I can do is I can have a process running in the background where AgentQL is going to Amazon and it's checking and analyzing the page and it's seeing, is there a buy now button? And if there's a buy now button, I can have it alert me. And, you know, you can set this up with the Zapier integration and scheduling, and I have it running right now. But as soon as that fashion pack becomes purchasable, there will be an email in my inbox and it will be mine.
Automation. Amazing.
Automation is a great use. We do not have time to be clicking on a keyboard, hitting refresh like monkeys all day. No time for that. There's also scraping. Over here in the UK, when I go to these conferences, regional conferences, and I tell people about what AgentQL can do, they're always like, I once had to go and get all the regional veterinarian phone numbers because I worked in the civil service. And all of those government sites didn't have APIs. So I had to scrape them by hand. And then I had to sort the data by hand. And it's an excruciating waste of human lifespan to do that sort of thing. But AgentQL, it just looks right through the page's structure and sees the information and the patterns in the information. So you could, you know, take the same query and point it at different government websites and still return the same information in the same shape. So that's another reason that you might not want to do, you might not just want to quote unquote browse the web yourself. Maybe you are hoofing it through like page after page after page of data that needs to be copied and pasted somewhere. You could just get it in a big old lump of JSON.
I never thought about that use case. That sounds super tedious for like government folks. And then I loved your use case of the Monster High thing because I was a big fan of Monster High, Bratz, and all that. And I was thinking, my husband is super obsessed with Pokemon right now. I mean, he always has been, but he's been like running to the stores, like, oh my gosh, they just dropped this card. And like having that example that you gave would have helped him so much more because he's sometimes like, dang it, like it just sold out. Like I didn't realize it was gonna drop at like 11:01 a.m. Let me see what the audience is saying. One person wants a link to that green book that you showed.
I think it's on Amazon. It's Artificial Intelligence, A Modern Approach, 4th edition, or whatever's the most recent one. It's by Stuart Russell and Peter Norvig.
Okay, perfect. Hopefully that helped you. Someone said, oh, Tanya said she needs this for Godzilla collectibles, and someone was explaining some sites defend against spy bots, scrapers. Let's
Oh my God. I have so many stories to tell.
What? Let me start this for after because I do want to get to the demo, and I love talking with people. But hold on, let me start that question for does it juggle avoid does it oh my god, does it juggle? I can't even talk, but you know what I'm trying to say. Okay, and then Pokemon, all that, awesome. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna play a commercial really quick while you share your screen and get yourself set up for the demo, and then we'll show the demo very quickly, and then we'll go back to the audience question. So Y'all, if you have really good questions to ask and you want us to just talk about them, put them in the chat and I'll star them and we'll talk about them after. I just don't want to talk the whole time and then never do the demo. Okay.
Yeah.
So gonna do that.
Want Goose to automate tasks simply by listening to you? Let's plug and play to find out how. Let's provide Goose with the command it needs to connect to the Speech MCP extension. Now watch me type and listen out for Goose.
Hi, what would you like to do today? Or is there anything you need help with?
I would like you to find the file speech-mcp, and I want us to update the TLDR note that we have on there and instead make it important.
I found the files. I'll update the note in Speech MCP. MD to change TLD are not too important. Let me first open the file and locate the section to modify. All done, the TLDR section has been updated to important in the file. If you need further edits or anything else, feel free to ask.
That was insane. To get started, visit block.github.io/goose.
We're already back. Okay, so I saw you ask me a question. I think if you wanted to do, if you did want to show AgentQL first, you can, and then we show it with Goose and AgentQL. Are you okay with that, or whatever? Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Cool. Feel free to share your screen.
All right, here we are at the beautiful agentql.com. I'm just going to take you all over to the playground so you have an idea of what AgentQL actually does under the hood. And in this case, we're going to, by the way, we have integrations for, let's see, we're going to actually be.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Wait, what?
Zoom in.
That?
Could you
yeah.
Yeah.
I put it at 125, but 150 seems more appropriate for this screen. How is this? Is this visible? Y'all see what I'm doing?
Looks beautiful to me.
Brilliant. So here we've got Y Combinator jobs. We've got jobs categories. This could be anything. Like we could just say entries and do this. And we hit fetch data. This is an AgentQL query, but we also have the ability here to use a prompt where you could write out what you wanted, and then it would generate a query for you. That's actually what we use with MCP with Goose. So here you can see it went out and got the different categories, and then it pulled up the different entries that have, one schema, software engineer, etc. So you can see that they match up pretty cool. And we could swap out any job site and it would still be able to get the same information. Okay, so that's just generally what it is. This is the query. AgentQL is the service that understands. This will work across different sites, etc. Now, let's see what we can do with some MCP. I've got Goose and I've got Cursor. I put Cursor here in case we wanted to do something saving locally. Oh, hang on. I meant to say one last thing. We also recently had our integrations week, and I actually use our Zapier integration on a regular basis to search my social networks for mentions of the agentic web. And every day I have a flow that dumps all of those into a spreadsheet, then dumps a spreadsheet into Claude. Then Claude writes me a little email of which things I should go check out and keeps me appraised of all the different news that's going on. So that's kind of what I do here. I'm using it where there are no APIs available, like with Twitter or with, I don't know, places that no longer invest in RSS feeds. So one of them that we released is this darling little MCP. And if you go check it out, you will find that we have a section on how to configure this MCP with Goose. Thank you for your help with that, Roselle. I've taken the liberty of setting it up already. If we go over here, is this big enough? Can you see it?
I think so. Audience, tell us if you can see it very well, but it looks good on my side.
Well, when we open it up and we go check it out, let's see, Goose hints. It's so cool, Roselle. I love Goose. It's so cute. I used to raise Goose growing up, so this is adorable. We go. Once you get it set up, like look at all the tools that you can add, the extensions. I know they're called extensions, but if you have an MCP server in mind, you can add it here. I've gone ahead and added mine. Now, let's see. I'm going to ask it. Now, wait. Actually, here's a better example. What happens when I want it to go do something with the web without AgentQL added? Okay, get the social links from nearestneighbors.com. That's my site. Let's see if Goose can do this out of the box.
This is a good experiment.
I don't know if it can or can't. Okay, yeah, it's using a shell command and it didn't yield results. It's trying. This is a lot. Yeah, I can't. It's like, I wasn't able to. So here we're gonna do this again. You ready? Okay, advanced settings. We're gonna switch it on and speed. Yeah. I love how snappy this is. Oh, I'm gonna use Goose all the time. All right, now. Okay. Could you try again? Just the social links from nearestneighbors.com. I guess I didn't have to ask it that way. I can't help it. I want to be polite.
No, somebody told me that when you're polite to LLM, you get better results. So I don't know. They said it's a real
Data.
study. Yeah.
It exhibits human bias. Did I ever tell you that ChatGPT multiple times when I've asked it to, yes, I'll try using the web data extraction tool, which is better suited. Yes, extract web data. That is the AgentQL tool, extract web data. And now what happens is that AgentQL gets this URL. It goes to the URL, grabs all of the HTML DOM structure, strips it down to just the structure that we know as the accessibility model, and then does a bunch of fun stuff with LLMs to determine which bits of information to return to you. It's very reliable. And oh, I'm sorry, it already did everything. I didn't scroll down.
I was like, oh my gosh, Goose is being slow, embarrassing, but it was
even this. Aw, Claude. So what happened was AgentQL returned the information, and then Claude formatted it into this adorable emoticon-filled pile here. And it's like, oh, and there's some additional content platforms as well. Result, what's your URL?
Oh, I hope it's still up. blackgirlbites.dev, but that is a blog basically.
If you have social links on there, it should be able to return it.
Let's see. And I do want to know, Angie will kill me if I didn't. So depending on, so you had the developer extension on for Goose,
Yeah.
so that's why it kind of failed. But if we use the computer controller, it could scrape the web. It probably wouldn't return the data in the structured format that AgentQL has, but it can also search the web, but not in maybe the same way.
Tell me more about what the computer controller does. Does it give it control of my computer?
Yeah, it can. I actually used it.
Scary. No. I don't know. There are folders I don't want it getting into.
You could use Goose Ignore and you could tell it, hey, ignore these areas. But I've used it to like turn down like the brightness on my computer, or like start a web app or whatever, like start an app that plays music for me. So it's basically made for people who aren't developers, but they want to prompt Goose to do things.
Oops, I think I turned it off a little too early. That's okay. Oh, it didn't return any results.
Yeah, I don't have a cool like this is my website thing. I just put all my domains to my blog.
And you can see this is the prompt that it's passing. So the fun thing about AgentQL is that it has two ways to use the API. It has an API, a REST API. And you can pass a query, in which case you are describing like that beautifully shaped query that returned the data in the format we wanted, which is great if you're a human and you're like, I need to manually get this information into this format for my CSVs. That's totally legit. That happens all the time. Manual scrape jobs are a thing. You know, a scraper's best friend. But if you're using an LLM, LLM's no likey the structured data there. So what you got to do is you tend to use prompt, where the LLM will create a prompt and the information will be returned in a structure, and the LLM will just be chill with that structure. There's no need to teach it how to write a query. You can just let it pass a prompt. So as you can see here, it's been updating the prompt, you know, find all social media links, and then, you know, look for links containing social media references. It's trying to think here. Now, I turned off those because I wanted to try doing this one more time. So it's hung right now, but let's try it again. I'm going to ask it one more time, and let's see how terrifying it is in my computer. Okay, get the social links. I want to see this. I want to see this. I feel like we owe it to the people who are watching.
Yeah.
Like, which of these tools would a person choose? Can it do it out of the box? Is there a reason why you'd want to use a tool like AgentQL? Or would you want to, hey, Goosey,
It might have.
maybe
We need a new window.
I think I borked it. It's my fault.
No.
Okay, let's try it again. There we go. I see. Oh, I love this Goose. You got to tell me who your designer is. I got a logo I need to make.
Ooh.
All right. I'll help you fetch them. I'm going to use some web scraping tools, text, web scrape, cache. Where is it pulling up these things from? I guess this is a part of computer controller.
Yeah, part of computer controller.
Ooh, let's check it out. JavaScript to load content. I apologize. I'm having difficulty accessing.
Interesting. It still struggled. Sometimes it's able to do it. So maybe AgentQL is more reliable in this situation.
It might be in this situation, but oh man, I was going to say, let's go check out all the extensions that you have available. Let's keep it. Let's keep on AgentQL, but it should be mentioned. I showed you how to do one thing, but I do feel like there's something to explore here. Check it out. One thing I love to do with AgentQL is I love to team it up with Tavily. Tavily is like search for, you know what it is, right? Resolve.
But I never thought of combining them. I thought they were kind of the same thing, like AgentQL and Tavily. So wait, tell me.
I'm surprised it only has 4 stars onto GitHub, but yeah, I want to install it. Oops, hang on a minute. Is there like a convenient pause? Hang on, I'm going to temporarily be on the other screen over here doing the thing. Not to worry. Oh,
I can play another video.
Hang on a minute. I'm just give me a minute. No, it'll just take me a minute. I've mastered how to use the hotkeys to navigate through my through everything. I got myself an Apple Vision Pro as my big birthday present to myself this year, and the only way to survive is to get really good with the hotkeys for rearranging things. But I love it. Okay, all right. Deep breath. I'm getting my Tavily key. Focusing. Oh my God. This is my biggest complaint. I don't have it saved. This is my biggest complaint about agents, is that it requires so much in terms of API key management. I feel like that's going to be, and take this idea from me, somebody out there, make an API key manager for people working with agents. And you know, the 1Password of API keys for agents, and you are going to be just so well to do. Yeah, I see you there. Hey, can I copy that? Oh yeah, it's letting me copy it. Oh my God, don't tell anyone. Okay, save configuration, adding it. Okay, we're almost in business here. It's adding the extension.
It's happening. And DB Darrow's trying to be sneaky. He said sharing's caring. Share the API keys. Nope. All right, let's do it.
But there you see, we've got it. So now what have we done? We've got AgentQL, which can extract data from any page. And now we've got Tavily Web Search, which is allowing the agent to go out there and do the search in. So let's see what can happen now. Let's see. Okay. I've granted it access to search. Now I'm going to ask it to go get me prices for Monster High's Wednesday doll in the USA. All right, let's see what it does. Let's just see what it does. Because Tavily should be able to search for the doll, but AgentQL should be able to extract the pricing information. Okay, so it's doing the search, Monster High Wednesday Adams doll price, where to buy. Obviously, the search engine isn't going to return, price and where to buy. But it's got, here we go. Ta-da!
I love it. Based on the search results.
Wow. Okay. Wow, that is very cheap. It didn't provide any links.
Yeah.
Oh, and look at this. Like me to check any specific retailer in more detail or look for promotional deals. Well, aren't you just helpful, Mr. Goose?
Goose is very helpful. He always asks for more after. Did AgentQL get triggered at all?
I don't think it did, which makes me kind of wonder because $13 is really cheap. And I'm wondering if it, and like Books A Million and Target, I feel like this might be a little awkward. So hang on a minute.
Yeah. You could even prompt it to use AgentQL, like push it in that direction.
I want you to follow each link to these retailers and use AgentQL to get the price from each page. Then return the links and prices in order of cheapest to most expensive. A bit wordy, but let's see what it does.
Sometimes you got to be specific and just push it. I said sometimes you got to be specific. Yeah. Let's see.
So one of the challenges with just dumping a page into an LLM like Claude or even a GPT is that they're not really good necessarily at fishing out information from the soup. They're getting better.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of times when people are trying to get data out of HTML, they will put it into something like unstructured or a vector database, and they'll try to like query it. They'll like dump more and more of it into the soup. It's actually oftentimes it's better to let a service like AgentQL do the heavy lifting. If you're not going to build a service that does that internally, let it do the heavy lifting and the cleaning and the refining and the kind of like, it's kind of like refining ore to make metal. We have a lot of people who are like, I could build that. And then like 2 months later, like, I couldn't build that. And we're like, we know, sweetheart, here you go.
Smart. Hilarious.
I wish that like an onboard LLM could do something like that, but not really. Oh wait, Goose is doing the thing. Sorry, it did it again. Come on, Goose, you need to learn how to scroll down when you're doing stuff. I'm sure your UX team is hard at work analyzing all of these use cases. So it used AgentQL to extract the current prices from Walmart, Target, and good job. It followed all of these. It said it couldn't do it from a Walmart or Amazon as the product was out of stock. Wow. That makes sense.
Okay.
Interesting. So that means it sounds to me like it kind of made up those prices. I thought they were unusually low.
From
okay.
Tavily. Oh no.
What's something you'd like to buy today? Oh, like an OLED switch?
Ooh. Heck yeah.
Let's see if it can get that. Okay, do that again for an OLED Nintendo Switch. Let's see if it can do it.
I'm excited.
I'll search for them at retailers and then check each page directly for current pricing. Okay, I'm loving this. Goose is really cool. I'd like to know more about how you use Goose day to day. What are some of the things that you do with it while we're waiting for it to give us the price comparison?
I use it for a lot of DevRel like tasks. So like, okay, for example, this live stream, I like use this YouTube to transcriber MCP. I took your keynote, I got the transcript from that, and then I was like, Goose, let's brainstorm some questions together. That would be great. And I'm like, here's kind of the direction I want to go in. And sometimes I was like, yeah, I don't like those questions. I'm doing my own. But that's kind of like the the way I use Goose a lot of times. Yeah,
I love it. Goose sounds like your perfect companion.
it is.
Oh, why is he named Goose, by the way? I used to raise geese, so I'm partial to geese. They can make great non-dog companions. But like, why? Why Goose?
So basically, the person who created it, I guess they love Top Gun. Cause I never watched Top Gun before, but there's a character named Goose who's a co-pilot. So that's the thing there.
I get it. It's like Goose is your co-pilot.
Yeah. And people have questions. I don't know are you okay with asking questions or answering questions now?
Heck yeah, let's do it while Goose is working on it.
Cool. Hopefully I can read because sometimes I get overexcited. All right. So how does it handle IP juggling and preventing sites from thinking it's a buy bot and blocking it?
Oh my gosh, I'm glad you asked that. So we have a couple of things for that. Number one, there is a stealth mode that's available to switch on for our integrations that does use a fancy things underneath the hood. That should take care of that for you. But that's partly because when you're using the REST API, you don't really have control over what the headers or proxies are. When you're using the SDKs locally, though, you do have control. You can spoof them yourself. We have a guide for that in the documentation under stealth, which is where you can like auto generate your location, etc., to avoid fingerprinting. You can also like go out and buy some proxies yourself and use those. AgentQL, the SDK, is not in the business of like getting around people's anti-bot measures, but it is better for you to use it if you're like it's better to use it from your personal computer than from an Amazon cluster. Let's put it that way. So if you're not going to use the API and you're not going to use it, if you're not going to use the API with stealth mode on, it's good to run it from your local machine using the SDK. And you can, that way your browser is fingerprinted as being you. And yeah, it's
Interesting.
that is actually a really interesting question to bring up because it does beg the question when agents are acting on our behalf. How much is it robotic and how much of it is a delegated task to an agent?
Interesting. That was good.
Well, look at that. It actually got all of the prices.
Hey.
Boom.
And those look realistic for a Switch. They don't look made up.
This is correct. It stalled out when we tried to go after Wednesday because she's not available for sale anymore, which honestly, good job. It could have gone to eBay though. That's what I'm disappointed in. It's like, you didn't reason about that, Goose. You should have been like, I can't find that here. I'm going to go to eBay.
Yeah, that's not fair. And then someone was asking, hopefully I'm able to answer this. Does Goose have automatic knowledge base folder that takes concise characteristics of the user's questions and builds that over time to tailor for the users? Okay, so we have a memory extension, which is it's an MCP that's built in. I use that memory extension to kind of get to learn my preferences. But it doesn't have, like, so people know, Goose doesn't have, at least this is how I think of it. It doesn't have any knowledge. It kind of uses the LLMs as its brain. So right now, it like Rachel's Goose, it has Claude Anthropic's brain, like Claude Sonnet 3.5. So that's why it behaves the way it does. Yeah. And then with memory, you can tell it like, remember this about me. Like you'll use a couple of keywords and then it'll remember that like, oh, Rizal likes me to respond in this specific way. And then it also has Goose hints where I often use that to say like, hey, I don't want you to go ahead and like maybe run npm run dev. Like I want to do that myself, like whatever specific things I have for that project. Hopefully I answered.
What are Goose hints?
Goose hints. So This is a way to like provide additional context or a bit of like preferences. So maybe you're working in like a particular project and you're like, I always want this to happen. Or you can have global Goose hints and you're like, if you help build me a web app, we're going to use TypeScript or Next.js. Like, yeah.
Well, follow Google style guide. Well, I'm just going to let Goose write all my documentation for me from here on out. Oh, this looks so much fun. This could be really helpful.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Is Goose available for you to use?
I
Yes.
think they were asking AgentQL was available for you to use. Because I see
yeah.
a lot, so they know Goose.
AgentQL.com. You can, if I'm going to assume people were asking about AgentQL. I can't show that. That has a key on it. Hang on a minute. Bringing it over. There we go. Not like that. Like this. Okay. AgentQL.com. Ba-boom. And we've got a playground. We've got docs, which have changed their location. Ignore that. We've got guides, and everyone was asking about stealth mode. I've created an entire section of guides avoiding bot detection, which is all about enabling proxies, rotating headers, enabling stealth mode for your headless browser, because headless browsers do get flagged as not being human, because a human would need to see a window. Headless is when the actual like visual part of the browser is turned off. So it's not actually like drawing anything on the screen. You can look at a DOM and not see the DOM, like it exists hypothetically, and you can perform operations on it hypothetically without ever drawing it to the screen. And a lot of people will run a headless browser in the background, and the browser can look and be like, yeah, I see. Be like, yes, I'm not actually rendering any of this content. And the server can be like, no, that.
I love that.
And of course, user-like behavior, which I love because it sounds like ladylike behavior on behalf of the browser. It's like you got to use user-like behavior, playwright. You got to be user-like.
I love it. And then someone asked.
Just get your API key up here. Boop, boop.
I interrupted you. My bad. Yeah. So definitely you could use it. There's get your API key. Don't oh yeah, you didn't expose them. Perfect.
No, you can just see the beginnings and the ends. Good luck there.
And someone was asking, will there be a stream with open source models? We already had one. If you go on our YouTube, I brought on an engineer from Olama and we used Goose with Olama. I have more questions for you. Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, but I'm excited for the local models to start, open source models to start getting more, I don't know, to improve, because it's a little bit hard if you don't have like a really beefy computer. Oh, I wonder what it does when you said it. Remember that I love Monster High dolls. Maybe ask it like, do I love Monster High dolls? I don't know. Oh, there it is. I'll help store this preference in your memories.
So where are the memories stored?
I think in the config. Let me just make sure. Off the top of my head, I don't exactly remember, but it's definitely in our documentation. But I believe we have like a configuration file that has all the information for you.
I'm gonna say, help me track stalls. Wednesday Adams, please. I don't need this doll. I have this doll, but I'm just thinking, it's like, do you want me to help you track? And I'm like, what can Goose do if I ask it for help with that? Let me create a specific memory for tracking this doll and then get some current information about it. A memory for tracking, what's that gonna do?
Interesting. I would think it would, maybe if you had the computer controller extension on, it would create like an automation script and then like use that to track it. Because I'm like, what's the memory gonna do? I'm also confused.
It's got Tavily and it's got extract web data. It might be able to put 2 and 2 together and do this on its own.
Yeah, let's scroll since it's.
Oh, that's right. It doesn't auto scroll. I forget about that. Okay, remember memory. Let's see. Let me search for different ones. It might be multiple versions. There are. Okay, I'll create a detailed tracking memories for each available doll. Okay.
Interesting.
It's very interesting. I'm just curious, like, how close we are to being able to run my eBay kingdom for dolls. Um, I'm kidding. I love dolls, but I never buy any because I move so much. I have no room to collect them. So I just sort of like love them from a distance. This is the first doll I've had in like decades. And she just sits there in her box and I adore her. Okay. It says now that it's set up detailed tracking for all Wednesday atoms. Would I like to set up price alerts?
Cool.
Oh, compare prices across different retailers.
That's cool. And while we're waiting for it, oh, go ahead.
I'm having a blast. I feel like price comparison comes up a lot. Was there anything else you wanted to play around with, or that the audience might like to try doing with the web and Goose?
I don't know. Feel free in the comments, y'all, to let us know what else you wanted to play around with. I do know we're nearing kind of the end, and I have some more questions for you. So
Okay.
we could do it in the meantime. We can have it happening in the background while I ask the question. That way it's
I like it. It's using extract web data already. Yeah, it's so smart. Okay, let's do the questions.
Okay, so one question I was having for you is just on your thoughts on like browsers, right? Again, like just from your conference talk, I'm curious if you think that like browsers will eventually become like more agent first type tools, or are you like they're kind of outdated and they won't be compatible with the future?
Okay, well, great question. First of off, first of off, first of all, or first off, you can have your pick. So sometimes I swear these LLMs are better at human language than I am. Ahem. But the important thing to remember is that browsers were created specifically to allow people, humans like you and I, to browse content on the web. And humans have also been also handily been recording and editing and tagging information on the web. You know, we've been making it accessible. We've been using standardized markup. We've been, using meta tags. We've optimized everything for SEO. Like, we've built the web to be bot accessible.
Mm.
Google did a good job of training us to tag and sort the content like of the human race. But remember, that information exists out there, but the browser is just one way of accessing it. We can access that information all the time using APIs between programs. The web forms like the data pipelines of the apps that we use, HTTP requests. I mean, they're using HTTP requests, but those aren't browsers in your phone.
Yeah.
So the question is, will we always be using a browser? And if not, what would we also use to access the internet? Like, what would we also use to get things done? How many of us actually use a browser to access our social accounts and keep up with family anymore? We use an app, right? On our phones, right? But isn't it a pain in the butt to switch between different apps to try to find the people that you care about? Like, I'm always hauling my butt from Facebook to Instagram, all of them trying to vie for my attention. And honestly, I just want to see everyone I love in one place. I wish that I had a way to just see the things that mattered to me in one place. Well, all that information is usually very publicly available. If it's not accessible via API, or the AT protocol like Blue Sky uses, it can be gotten using scraping technology and
Mm.
things like AgentQL or MCP driven agents themselves. Then you could just consolidate that information in an app that you used. You would have like the social app, and it would have multiple sources. And we might one day have a business app that has, it connects via MCP to QuickBooks, and it connects via MCP to our bank account. And slowly, bit by bit, we might find more and more of the things that we're doing are laddering up into an app that interprets the information for us for different tasks and adapts to what we're doing, rather than having to juggle a bunch of different apps and their different interfaces and their different ways of operating, and all of our information being completely siloed and unable to talk to each other. So we are already seeing some of this happen. We have Borg browsers like retriever.ai. That's retriever spelled without any of the vowels .ai. This is basically Chrome with an extension on it that does data parsing and inputting for you. Strawberry browser from the people who built Dendrite. Yeah, that Dendrite's a bit like AgentQL. They pivoted into making a browser called Strawberry. Arc uses AI features, but Arc's kind of on the light end. Things like Strawberry and Retriever are really heavy duty. They're Borg browsers. And I suspect we'll see Chrome and other browsers adopting some of these features like Opera has. But then there's going to be non-browsers that let you browse or access internet web data, things that we would normally just dump on the web. It'll be not a browser, but if you ask it to place an order for a pizza, it can do that if you give it your credit card. And it will do that without ever taking you to a web page. Okay. And that is the 5 to 10 year plan for what's going to happen to the internet and how a browser isn't going to be a browser anymore by the end of it.
Interesting. And I someone mentioned that Google search has some kind of AI mode because you said something about Chrome. With 5 minutes left, looking at the results, and people are too. Some people are wondering, is this sponsored content? And they were wondering, how does your tool differentiate, or even maybe Goose mixed with your tool, or Tavily differentiate with sponsored listings versus actual listings?
That's the best part. Oh God, let me show you this. Hang on. Let's go someplace where there is some SpawnCon. Okay, we're gonna go to YouTube. Oh no. I'm going to go further. I'm gonna take us to the king of SpawnCon. We're going to Google itself.
Not Google.
What are some things? Okay, I got it. Bluetooth headphones. Yeah. Look, we got sponsored. So AgentQL has this little handy debugger, which I sometimes use to get work done. Oh no, not again. Excuse me. Just a minute. I can do this. We've only got 5 minutes. We can do it. I believe in you. There we go. Oh, so heavy. It's so hard, but we're here. We made it. Okay. All right. So here we go. I'm going to say listings, and the brackets mean I want you to get multiples. And I can also do this thing where I put in a prompt here to refine it. Mm-hmm. Anything not sponsored. Or an ad. And then I'm going to say title link. Ready? Fetch data. Let's see if AgentQL can distinguish between what's real and what is pay for play.
Interesting.
Boom, 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 boom. So the nice thing about LLMs is they're pretty smart at figuring out the sponsored button. This no good. Even if there were some fun things to put this very far away in the DOM, the LLM would be able to spot the pattern. And also it would be hard for you to put that far away in the DOM without also making it inaccessible. So the accessibility standard kind of implies that content that fits together will always be together, or else you're going to be creating a very ganked up user experience, which a company like Google would never do. Anyway, it's taking its sweet time. Yeah. But let's just take, oh my gosh.
It's okay.
This is what we call the enshittification of the internet. We used to use Google as a way to find things, but finding things has become increasingly cluttered with ads, shopping, and then here, look at this. We're 2 screens down. Now we got the first.
Finally, yeah. It's so crazy. Somebody was asking, maybe they came in late. They want to know AgentQL versus Goose. Like which part's the block product? Goose is a block product, open source AI agent that's local to your machine, and then AgentQL is a tiny fish product.
It is.
Yeah.
Tiny Fish is the company that makes AgentQL the same way Alphabet makes Google. That's how you can remember it. And Block makes Goose.
Yeah.
And AgentQL has its own little MCP server, so you can get up and running with it. It basically is. So we didn't get to talk about what MCP is.
Oh,
Everyone's
really?
been talking about it.
Oh yeah,
I
let's
got a,
do
I
that.
got a
Maybe we
couple
can go
extra minutes.
over
to
a
feed
little
you.
bit. Yeah, let's do. Tell me first off, like, yeah, tell me your thoughts on MCP server. Why did AgentQL even decide, like, hey, we need to put out an MCP server for this? Yeah.
Well, I gotta give that kudos to my colleague Sergey, because he was like, MCP is this amazing spec and we got to do something about it. We got to do something about it. So when we're like, let's do an integrations week, he was like, with MCP server. And we totally shipped it. And he was awesome. I love Sergey. He's amazing. So, okay, wait. I want to prove you. Look. The first one it shows is the Sony. It's actually getting from the popular products here.
Oh.
I could refine this further and tell it not to go to the popular products, because it looks like it's fallen in love with this little group right here. It's like, okay, listings. Okay. Search results. Anything not sponsored or an ad or a product to buy.
Interesting. I wonder how
Just
like,
links.
agents like Goose or Claude do this. Like, do they put the prompt in to the query? Like, I don't know if that question made sense.
So when an agent like Goose is using our oh yeah, here we go. Price Spy. Yay, it did do it. It got Price Spy. And it got, oh yes. So it's actually now returning real search results. Love it. I'm not sure where exactly it started returning them from, but it did get them. It did skip over all the ad looking stuff, which apparently this stuff is super buried. And it kind of makes me wonder how much of this is quietly being sponsored. But anyway, the point is, MCP is basically, it's like a wrapper. You can think of it as like REST API plus instructions for how an agent should use it. So the AgentQL MCP server can be used with any agentic framework or any agent, as it were. You can just connect it, like Claude, of course, can be connected, Cursor as well. And then it becomes a tool that the agent can use. And the agent will basically write its own prompt. AgentQL can take queries, but it can also take real worded prompts. And thus, your agent will write the prompt and send it to AgentQL over MCP, and AgentQL will return the data based on that prompt.
I love that. And I think it, as the name says, context, it brings in that additional context. I think it even helps like reduce, at least from my experience, I didn't see anyone say this, but like kind of reduce hallucinations, because now it has like, oh, this is specific information about AgentQL or specific information about Tavily and how to use that tooling. All right, we're reaching the end. Is there any one last thing that you want to say or do before we tell everyone goodbye?
Just go out there and see what you can build. I feel like we're at the start of something great. I was there when the web took off, and I feel like we're there again. It's been many years since the web promised free and open access and interoperability. But since then, it's increasingly become walled gardens with people's information being held captive on platforms and numbers of users being sold to VC after VC just so they could collect our data and then advertise to us. But I think we're at a point where agents will offer us a new opportunity to interact with each other's data and information. And I think that gives power back to the user, at least at this stage. And that makes me really excited. I encourage you to go out there, build some things, break some things, see what you can make, and try to build something that makes your life better and maybe the lives of the people around you.
That was like inspiring. You just came up with that off the top of your head. I loved it. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. There's another live stream on Friday that you would definitely want to tune in for. But thank you so much, y'all. Bye, Rachel. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much, Roselle. Love hanging out with you. Cheers.
Cheers.